And welcome to Principles of Economics, Macroeconomics, Echo 103, which will be held in person Tuesdays and Thursdays from 5:30 to 6:45 p.m. in Hamilton 301. The reason why I'm making this video today is to go through the Moodle page and the outline with you guys, just in case you want to miss the first class, which will be held the first week of class on Thursday evening. I understand that it's orientation week for some of you, and you might have other things that are more appealing, especially since the weather's supposed to be really nice this week. So if ever you do not want to come to class on Thursday, that is fine. Just make sure that you go through this video and you understand how this class works so that you are ready for the semester. So in the actual class on Thursday, I'm going to go through this with you guys and maybe chat a little bit more, but there will not be any material covered. That will begin the following Tuesday. So what to expect from this class? So if I go through the Moodle pages, it's the same format in my other classes that if ever you had other classes with me before. This first kind of big segment here has most of the resources that you want for the semester, and then it's broken down in weekly formats. So in this first section here, you have the outline, which I'll go through in a sec. The Bishop's map is so that if ever you want to come see me in my office on campus, you could see where that office is. It's the building that's circled, and which is held between the principal's office or the principal's house and the gate. So if you walk like going towards the sports center or going towards the football field from the gate on the roadside, I would say, you will have the Champlain building on your left, and on the right there will be several houses. The second house on your right is where my office is held. You have here all of my notes in full format. What that means is that it's one slide per page, so it's great if you're looking at it on a computer, cell phone, or a tablet. And then you have it in printer-friendly format, which is great if ever you want to print it. Note that the bookstore should have some of these printed on file, so if ever you want to get it done and you don't want to go through another organization, it's nice and quick. It's not too expensive because they really just charge you for the paper. Then all of my lectures can be found on YouTube, so you could click on this link here. And then during COVID, I also made sure that you guys could keep learning without staring at a screen the whole time. So if ever you want to have an intro or a review to specific chapters, there is an audio only format, which you can link here, or you have the files. And in those, I assume that you don't have your notes in front of you, so you could be out hiking or driving and you could still kind of absorb some of the information. So I'm trying to kind of relay the important parts to know the good take-home messages for the chapter without having you needing to look at your notes. If you're looking at your notes at the same time, you're better off looking at the videos because those are more complete. Then I have some assigned questions from the textbook, which is the ManQ textbook. And luckily for you guys in this class, when you actually have the solutions for those end of chapter questions, there's also the actual question. So if ever you do not buy the textbook, you do not need to buy the textbook, or if you buy a previous edition, you could always look at the questions and then try to solve it yourself and then look at the answers from this file here. So the textbook is not required, but these questions should be done. And then why do I give assigned questions and not just tell you to do everything? Well, in my class, if ever there is something that's not being discussed in the videos or in class, that is not up for grabs on the exam. But anything that's being discussed at any class in the semester or in my notes, it doesn't have to be in my notes, but it has to be one or the other, is up for grabs on the exam. So if you're reading through the chapters and you notice some topics that haven't been covered, don't worry about those if they haven't been discussed in the notes or the exam. So that's why I give assigned questions. You don't waste time on questions that are irrelevant for your success in this class. The video that I'm making now will be linked here. And then here you have a few notes if you want from micro for the students who haven't done micro before macro. It's just basic information from micro that covers supply and demand. It's good to have to understand, to help you understand later on aggregate demand, aggregate supply, but it is not a requirement. You may start with macroeconomics before microeconomics. That is totally fine. You will not be penalized. That's really just the only information you should know from micro. Then otherwise, both classes are quite different. So I'll go through the weekly format in a sec, but let's just go through the outline first. So classes Tuesdays and Thursdays, 5:30 to 6:45. My office hours. So these are hours where, unless I email you guys to say otherwise, I should always be in my office during those time slots. So you don't need to schedule an appointment. You could just show up and see me. And then I'm quite available at any other time. I just don't like sitting around in my office waiting for students to show up. So if ever you want to meet on a Monday, Wednesday, whatever, you could always email me, and then we'll set up a meeting on Teams to have a discussion to answer your questions. My phone number is here. I would say if you want to call, just make sure I'm in my office, or you have a quick question during my office hours, call me. Otherwise, do not leave a voicemail, as I rarely check those. Make sure to email me instead if you want to schedule an appointment or you want to get a response from me. Okay? So macroeconomics is really the topic that you would think about if you're thinking about anything economics related from a general perspective. When people think of economics, they think of exchange rates, inflation, recessions, government's fiscal policy, monetary policy, unemployment. All of those things will be covered in this class. So it's an applied version of economics. It's microeconomics is different. So this is the focus of this class here. So textbook is found here. You can buy it. You can buy previous edition. That's fine. They don't change that much. It's really the end of chapter questions that change more, but you have access to those on the file that I mentioned earlier. Course evaluation, you have two different options. You need to pass the final exam to pass the class. If you don't pass the final exam, you will get the grade from your final exam. So if you get 40% on the final, even though your overall grade is greater, you will get 40% on posted as your final grade. Anyone caught cheating on any exam will receive a grade of 0 and will be reported. Sadly, I have had to do this several times in the past, and it's not fun for me. It's not fun for you. It's definitely worse for you, but it's not something that I like to do. So please do not cheat. It's not something that is fun to go through, and it's a terrible thing to have on file. You could be expelled, and you don't want to go through that. So, yeah. And then whichever of these two grading schemes yields the highest grade for you is the one that you will get. So don't need to worry about like, I want to choose this one or I want to choose this one. Just do all the examinations. I'll input all those results in Excel, and I will compute whichever one gives you the highest grade, and that's what you're going to get. So essentially the difference between the two grading schemes, in both cases you have the quizzes that are evaluated. You have the 5 best out of 7 worth 10% each, and then both of them have a final exam. And then this first grading scheme has the midterm to remove some of the value from the final exam. So I would say make sure you do well in the midterm so that the final may not be worth that much. But if you do poorly or you miss the midterm, well, this is the grading scheme that you will likely have. So for the quizzes, you have a full week to complete. It's typically 10 questions. You have 20 minutes to do it. It's on Moodle. It ends at 5 p.m. So even you start whenever you want. Once you start, you have 20 minutes. Make sure that you end before 5 p.m. on the final day. So do not start at 5 to 5, or else you will only have 5 minutes to complete. And then the midterm is October 17th, which is that week between Thanksgiving or after Thanksgiving and the reading week. It's the final Thursday from 5:30 to 7 p.m. I know it's not a great moment for an exam, but it was the best I could do. Otherwise, it would have to be after reading week, and it's just not as good for you guys. So let's keep it like this. And if ever, like I said, you do poorly or you don't want to do it, well, you can always have the final exam count more. And then I have all the other quizzes. The final quiz consists of kind of a review of all chapters. And then otherwise the final exam is to be determined. I don't know when the date will be. I don't know. I know that it's going to be in the gym because you guys are too many to fit anywhere else. But yeah, to be determined for the final exam in person. Make sure you're available in that whole final exam period, which spans between December 9th and 20th, because if you're not available for the final exam date, there's nothing I could do for you, sadly. So there's no makeup exam, there is no alternative. You have to make sure that you're available. So some of you like to plan travel. Sadly, for my class and other classes, you will have to be available till December 20th, just in case. Hopefully those dates come out soon so you could plan accordingly. It's the scheduling office that schedules those, so I'm not sure when it's going to come out, but normally they try to do it sooner than later. No graphical calculators allowed or cell phones allowed for the exams. Just have a basic calculator and have your ID card required for all exams. If for some reason you don't have your bishop's ID, you've lost it or whatever, at least bring another form of government issued ID. So passport or driver's license will do, but ideally you have your bishop's ID. This is what's expected of you for the whole semester in terms of material covered per week and the readings, the chapters involved. Since this is an in-person class, we might go a little bit faster or slower. This is just kind of the usual pace. Typically, we kind of go a little bit faster than what's noted here. So if ever you miss a class, ask another friend of yours that's in class where we got to in the last class to be able to see what you need to catch up. And you have access to the notes and videos to make sure that you catch up if ever you're sick or you had to miss a class due to a sports event or whatever. So that is the outline. Coming back to the Moodle page. So for each of the weeks, you'll have this similar kind of format. These are the notes that are a segment of that larger file that we had up here, just so that you know which notes to focus on for that week. The videos, which is a segment of the larger file that has, or the larger YouTube link that has all the videos. The thing that's different in that weekly format is now you have practice quizzes for that specific week. So for all chapters, you should have access to a practice quiz, which typically consists of 5 questions that are randomized in order. So if you do it more than once, you might not have the same ordering, but you'll have the same questions. These have no value for a grade, but they have a lot of value to prepare you for evaluative quizzes and midterms because they resemble them. So I expect you guys to have done all of these, and that is something that is expected in terms of what is available for the exams. So you can't say, oh, you didn't cover that if it's covered in one of these practice quizzes. Then if ever you go through them and you see the answer, but you still don't understand how you can get to that answer, I actually created videos explaining how to answer all of those questions. So it goes through my thought process to answering all of those questions. So make sure you look at this if you're struggling with any of them. And then at the end of these weeks, you will find articles, which is just an application of the topics covered in that week to real world events through real articles. So these are not evaluated on, but they're a good tool to see links between what's being learned and what's actually happening in reality. In the future, I'll probably have these as part of the exams, but for the moment, they will not be for now, okay? Unless I tell you otherwise in class. And then other weeks follow the same pattern, the notes, which are a segment of the other things, videos, practice quizzes. But the only thing that is different every second week is that you will have an actual evaluative quiz. So that's the link there that you will have. So same kind of pattern happens in these weeks. If you see like this and you're like, oh, I can't see this week, well, just click on that. You could open and close any of the weeks and go through the whole semester like this. So Hopefully this explains what to expect for the class. If you've watched this video and you want to sit out of Thursday's class, the first Thursday, cool. Otherwise, I will see you on campus in Hamilton 301 this coming Thursday from 5:30 to 6:45 p.m. I wish you all the best. It's going to be a beautiful week for orientation week for the new students. Enjoy all the activities, have fun. Bishops is an amazing place. I was here as a student and I always wanted to come back as a professor, and I'm happy to be part of this Bishops family. So please enjoy it, and then we will start the material next week.